Elias had a home where the floorboards knew the rhythm of his step. There, Clara waited with the quiet gravity of a decade of shared history. At their dinner table, the air was thick with the things they did not say. Elias would look at Clara across the steam of a porcelain bowl and feel the weight of the life they had built, the mortgage, the memories, the shared silences that felt like a thick, unbreakable rope. Elias became a man of two faces, a ghost in his own hallway. He practiced the art of the double life, tucking the scent of Lyra's perfume into his pockets before turning the key in his front door. He was a master of the transition, shedding the intensity of the forbidden for the predictability of the domestic. In the bathroom mirror, he searched for a version of himself that didn't feel like a lie. The intensity of their secret was a drug. In Lyra's small apartment, the world was reduced to the four walls and the electricity between them. Every touch was heightened by the knowledge that it shouldn't exist. They spoke in whispers, as if the volume of the truth might shatter the fragile glass of their shared reality. Here, they were not a man and a woman, but two stars colliding in a dark sky. Soon, Elias would say, the word "a bridge made of smoke." He spoke of a future where they didn't have to hide, a life where he could be hers completely. He promised changes, whispered about the right timing, and described a version of tomorrow that Lyra began to paint in her mind. But the promises were always anchored by a but, the children, the history, the complexity of a life that couldn't be folded up and put away. The waiting game is a lonely sport. When the sun went down and Elias returned to his family, Lyra was left with the silence of her own apartment. She watched the phone like a gambler watches a wheel, waiting for the vibration of a text that proved she still existed in his mind. She was the keeper of his secrets, but she was also the one who slept in an empty bed, waiting for a life that was always just out of reach. Elias watched Clara move through their home, a person he still loved in a way that felt like an old, comfortable coat. He saw the way she fixed the curtains or hummed to herself, and he felt the crushing guilt of his betrayal. He wanted to leave, and he wanted to stay. He wanted the fire with Lyra, but he feared the cold that would follow if he tore down the house he and Clara had built brick by brick. They met at the intersection of hope and reality, a bridge overlooking the river. The air was cold, and the pretense of the double life was wearing thin. Lyra looked at him and saw the weight of his indecision. Elias looked at her and saw the cost of his promises. The forbidden nature of their love, once a thrill, now felt like a heavy chain. They stood at the threshold of a choice that neither was ready to make. In the end, the architecture of shadows cannot support the weight of a life. Lyra turned to walk away, realizing that waiting is just another way of disappearing. Elias watched her go. His feet stayed by the invisible anchors of his domestic world. The intensity remained, a ghost in the back of their minds, a reminder of the beautiful, impossible thing they tried to build in the dark.